say hello, and welcome to our listeners and viewers once again. It's to the point for today. It's Tuesday, the 3rd day of March, 2026. Those of you who are social media platforms, good morning. Facebook page, YouTube channels, you know who you are around the world. Welcome. It's Opposition Tuesday on today's edition. And of course, it seems to be becoming a bit of a regular on the program. We have Mr. Christopher Allie Jr. with us this morning. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome back once again.
Good morning, Good morning, my brother. It's a pleasure to be back here, as always. I don't mind seeing you in a GT, so I mean, like, I hope I'm always welcome to come.
You're certainly welcome. You know, you of course, last time we were here, I did tell you, welcome. No, you are officially indoctrinated as being the not only the kid, you were the caretaker, but you're the person who will be representing the new national party, of course, in the next general election. And congratulations once again for that. How does that make you feel? To get that official indoctrination as being taking care of the constituency now. Not as a caretaker now, but you are actually being the representative for the new national party.
My brother, I mean, I feel immensely honored and proud to not just represent my party, but represent, I think, a generation who is entering politics right now with a fresh approach. So I feel immensely honored that my political leader and the executive of my party felt that I was at a stage in my life where I believe I could contribute and serve my country the best way possible. So I feel immensely honored for that privilege, because it's truly a privilege to serve.
Was there something surprising about it, you becoming the candidate now to represent?
I mean, I don't think it has.
You're thinking, I'm fresh in this. A newbie, someone would say it in that particular way, but you've been doing the work and so forth. I sure there may be other individuals who will maybe been interested also, but you being the one been chosen, how did that make you feel?
I mean, I wouldn't say it makes me feel special in any way. I think I had a great indoctrination as coming in as a floor member for the National Party, and then eventually becoming caretaker, and then now candidate. I felt like it was been a gradual training process. My party has not, as a young person, has not just invested. They has mentored me. My chairman of the party, former leader, Dr. Keach Mitchell, calls me all the time and checks on me and see if I'm okay. Sometimes I ask some advice of how to approach things, when I meet difficult situations, and I have a lot of mentoring. So I think the process during the time has been gradual, and I feel more confident going forth to my people with a plan. And I am very proud, very hopeful, and very excited for the future.
The most rewarding part of this for you, in terms of, you spoke about the mentorship and so forth. What is the most rewarding part of this thus far?
I guess getting to see my people in a more dynamic and more surreal, visceral sense. It's easy to drive through your community, do your little errands, go to work, come back. Sometimes you hang with your friends you're accustomed hanging with, but you don't come out of that circle, you don't come out of that bubble. And during this process, I had to come out of my bubble. I had to step out and go into uncomfortable areas.
But is it really you?
In sense of me?
I mean, I'm saying in a sense, candidate the Allie.
Yeah.
I mean, caretaker the Allie, candidate the Allie. Is it you? If you get where I'm coming from.
I have not changed. I think personally, I've probably gotten more. It has become really real to me now. Like knowing that I am possibly going to become a representative of my community. Right. So the seriousness in which I take it has become very in-depth. I've even taken on a course at McGill University to help build my knowledge in parliamentary governance, AI and things. I'm trying to not just enter this space without being able to truly contribute. So I'm trying to do the necessary training and uplifting of myself to be not just a candidate who has great ideas, but can make sure these ideas come to fruition. And that is what I think my people and a generation believes, because a lot of young people has lost hope in politics. They think that it makes no sense voting, bro, because everything will still stay the same. Everybody promised, nothing gets done. And I'm seeing that hopelessness in a generation, and I'm hurt because I kind of was one of those people and I felt I was feeling a little disenfranchised. And my father kind of told me straight out, it's politics is people, and everything is about people. So it's when you put yourself out, you can't complain without contributing. And I felt like ownership onto the issue. I felt like if I had the right to complain as a Grenadian, I also had the right to contribute. Okay. And that is where I'm at right now. I'm contributing.
Some folks, know that coin has flipped. Some folks would say from one to the next. What do you think is what is most challenging for you in this particular adjustment thus far?
Is being able to manage emotionally all the different things I'm faced with. A lot of people don't talk about mental health enough, but in doing these things, a lot of people think you get thrusted into the spotlight. It's something you always wanted, and like you can handle all the critiques, comments. Like these things don't affect you; it bounces off like Teflon. But a lot of this has been understanding that in politics, I don't like to think of it as like a lot of people say it's a dirty, grimy, and bad. I don't like to do it. I believe you put in what you get. I don't want my politics to be putting vitriol into the system. Okay. I want to put in the things that I believe our society needs. Plans, ideas, hopeful. We need to be excited and encouraged about how we go forth and face the problems. That is what I think we need. So, like, being involved in the community now, I think I've been able. Sometimes I meet people and the stories I hear and the things they're faced with, I can't separate that. I can't just turn it off as a switch when I go home. I am sometimes sit down in the living room just thinking about what that child is going through, what that mother is going through, and I'm trying to sometimes I have to go and do a interview, go on and do something on the platform, or go do house to house in the community the next day. How do you re-encourage yourself to keep going forward? And I have to say I'm extremely lucky. I have a very strong support. My family, my mother and father has always picked me up all throughout my life, and they still do now. I have very good friends and political team, and a party who treats me like a family. And I am very excited for the future.
No, you spoke about excuse me, you spoke about, going through the communities, and you spoke about hearing the plight of individuals, especially within your constituency and so forth. In those interactions, what would you say, with people daily? Because I guess you'll be doing that a whole lot more now, leading up to whenever our next general election will be called. What you hearing mostly in terms of the constituency from, I'm from there? What are you hearing mostly? That seems to be that conversation seems to be one that if I have an opportunity to be the representative for that particular constituency to come, my party wins the election, and I will do differently because of those conversations I'm hearing.
I mean, I think I hear a lot of people talk about in my community is like they don't feel a sense of clarity of what's going on in the future. They don't see a way forward because they're trying their best to do what they're doing in their daily lives, but sometimes things out of their control happen and they're now left, like a fish out of water. And I think right now I want to be the type of person and a candidate and a representative who stays with his people a bit more, to listen a lot more, I think, than just talk to and tell people. I think a lot of people in our society have the right ideas because they are in the community to see the problems. I think a lot more listening than telling is important as a politician. I think being able to communicate directly and articulate a vision, but also be able to receive the criticism of the vision, to make sure that the vision encapsulates all of the community.
All right. We drew for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the point. Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back shortly. Don't touch it.
Camahorn Boat, a powerful multimedia production, presented at Carafesta 15, written and directed by Chris DeRiggs. One big performance, only at the Grenada Trade Center on Saturday, 7th March at 7 p.m. The Camahorn Boat is the ship of state, Grenada sailing to its destiny. The Camahorn Boat is a call for unity, an exciting story about patriotism played out by Grenada's best acting talents, featuring Samuel Ogilvie, Robert White, Debbie Gilchrist, Gilchrist, Bianchi Toussaint, Dillian Walters, and others. Come out and join us in celebrating our Grenadianness on Saturday, 7th March, 7 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. Admission almost free. Advance tickets are $50, $65 at the door. Your ticket outlets: Giddens Pharmacy Grand Anse, Art and Soul Bookstore, Spiceline Mall, Mitchell's Pharmacy Grand Anse, 3B's Shoe Store, downtown St. George, and other places. Bring out the entire family and enjoy a wonderful evening of Grenadian theater on 7th March at Grenada Trade Center, 7 p.m.
A trip to Grenada from April 4th to the 6th, 2026. A decision you'll never regret. This isn't just any destination. It's where passion meets performance. Welcome to the 53rd Carifta Games, hosted at the iconic Kirani James Athletic Stadium in St. George's, under the theme, Passion Drives Performance. The best of the Caribbean's junior athletes will compete in electrifying track and field competition. Organize now and be part of an experience like no other, where talent, passion, and perseverance come alive on the land of 100,000 jab. Feel the passion, celebrate the performance, and create memories that will last a lifetime in pure Grenada, the land of warmth, spirit, and unstoppable energy. Welcome to the 53rd Carifta Games.
Grenada, listen up. This one hits different. On Saturday, March 14, it's going down at the Roy St. John's Playing Field in Tantine with Grenada Autofest. More than cars, go head to head with venting, antiques, and classics, bikes, Jeeps, Land Rovers, and custom-built machines, all battling for $50,000 in cash and prizes. It's more than a car show. It's a family day. Look out for go-kart racing and bouncy castles. And we climax with Sakina and the Alpha One Band, plus a special surprise. It's Grenada Auto Fest, Saturday, March 14. It's a vibe you can't miss. Lock the date. Special thanks to our partners, Wagity Rental, True Blueberry Resorts, On The Spot Hardware, and all our category prize sponsors.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
My name is Liselle Walcott. I am a staff nurse at the General Hospital for the past 16 years. At the Infection Control Department, we do surveillance for communicable diseases or hospital-acquired infections. We do outbreak investigations. So any issues we have, we would investigate it, find out the cause, and we would do recommendations and interventions to all relevant departments. Thus far, with Mount Sinai, we are looking at ways of improving hand hygiene. Hand hygiene has been proven to be one of the most important practices you could do to break the chain of infection. Working along with Mount Sinai, I foresee that it would be a very good thing for us. They are looking into the products that we use, the practices that we do. Going forward, we'll be able to achieve a very high level of compliance and safety across the board for everyone.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers once again. It's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV with us this morning. We have Mr. Christopher Allie Jr. with us this morning. And of course, he's here representing the New National Party. It's Opposition Tuesday on the program. And of course, he's now the candidate for the South, for the New National Party. I want to switch the conversation just a wee bit.
Yeah.
You know, infrastructure, the tourism product here in Grenada. Now, infrastructure for some people experience every day. Roads, drainage, public spaces, etc. How do you assess the current state of infrastructure, nationally?
Well, first of all, the South is the tourism hub of this country. And that is a topic that I jog and I go around the South. And I tell you, simple things can boost our tourism product. Take, for example, on that loop road, what they call Mont Rouge, right? On one side of Mont Rouge facing Cameron Park and Koyaba, there's drains and sidewalks.
Yes.
Now go juxtapose right to the next side of the road, onto the Lamarcky facing side of the road. There's no sidewalks and a mud drain. No even proper walking areas for the tourism and for tourists there. You have 3 hotels, from Blue Horizon to Siesta and the next, and then there's over 4 apartment buildings. And I go further, I go among Cinnamon, La Luna. These are all people who contribute to our economy. And yet, when they want to take a stroll to go down to the beach, they have to worry if a car is going to pass and splash some water on them. When it's night, I have to put on my high beams in that side of the road because people are walking there and you need to make sure you give them adequate space. These are things we should not be thinking about in our central hub of tourism. Yes, there's roads and drains, and I agree, that is part of our infrastructure. But we also have an excellent product that is not being utilized. People are coming into our island, staying here for a week or 2 weeks. I have been to so many islands across the OECS. We're the only one who does not have an entertainment district. I can go to Grosy Lane, St. Lucia, forgetting the street name in Trinidad now, but that one in Trinidad, you have St. Lawrence Gap in Barbados. It goes on and on. Where is our urban planning to make sure that not everywhere going to be a hotel? Why are we not creating an area where we have walking areas where it can be bars and restaurants and clubs where people and Grenadians can hustle and make money and not just close down on, it should be mandatory, that should be closing down at late nights because that is where the economy is spinning. When a person comes into Grenada, it doesn't always fall on a weekend, Sometimes a person comes for Monday to Thursday. We are a country that only parties or go out on a Friday, Saturday. You need to create a level of a tourism product where people can come and see the best type of cuisine and our breadfruit and our seafood, our ceviche. We can, we should have things that promote our bakers who are so good in pastries, our artisans, the people who do fabrics. These are things that should be highlighted in a condensed form. We can see our administrations tried something like that before with like a craft and vendors market. That is an old way, but we need to upgrade that now to a new way.
If I get tapping on you, you may be someone may challenge you and said, no, the new National Party, of course, the party that you know represents, for a period of time, never took the time out to make those infrastructure, adjustments, if I could say it in that way. We have a new party that's in power now. Why wasn't government interested in making those infrastructure adjustments? In your opinion, I hope it doesn't throw you off the curve, but
I guess
from the new National Party when they were in power, we now have the National Democratic Congress in power. Those infrastructure development, you talk about not having sidewalks on either side of the roads and so forth, that should help civilians. Why was this thing never done?
I think a problem has to be real for you to address it. Now, I can say personally, maybe to the version of my party which is more older, they were not thinking about partying and staying out late till 3 in the morning and having a different type of cocktail bars, and that was not their interest. I represent a whole new generation of Grenadians who don't want to, like, after work, go home and juke some soil in the garden and then take the kids and then go to sleep. Sometimes they want to go out to karaoke bar on Monday night and free out with their friends. These are the things that a younger populace wants. Our country is 60% under the age of 35. I represent 60% of the country more than the people who are in the 70s right now. So when I say that Grenadians all across the South want to see planned infrastructure that is focusing on the things that are important to them. We need to build a Grenada that represents us. I don't want, Adrian is my brother. I love Junction, but I don't think that should be the only club in which we consider that in the South. You know what I mean?
Infrastructure plays a major role in terms of strengthening the tourism product. You understand? How does they coordinate together? That infrastructure development and tourism. How does infrastructure plays that major role in terms of the tourism product?
Well, that comes down to urban planning. Well, we have statutory bodies. We just need to make them link up and talk more to each other. The reality is that GTA, Spice, Mass, Planning Development Authority, and the government within the GHTA all needs to come together and start to address the issues that affect the South. And I would even pull in SU for that, because SU is a massive contributor to the GDP of the South. We also need to create, when you think about the South, it's not just locals also, it's the students who stay here for months on end for a semester. Where are the places they are getting to spend their money? Because they have the money to spend. They're young guys who want to go out and stuff. Where are they going? We could increase potential for our Grenadians to earn more if there's more for them to do. We only have 1 or 2 franchises in Grenada. Where is the help and support to bring in more franchises or bring in new things, or help Grenadians who create their own franchises? We have beautiful businesses in the South like Sugar and Spice, our local businesses who are growing inside this country. What are we doing to help these local institutions grow? We have hotels that are family-owned in Grenada. They are competing with hotels that have concessions and tax breaks for 15 years, and they are competing with them. Why don't we make the level playing field for everybody and make sure everybody has things, both local and foreign? That is the kind of thinking we need to have right now to approach the problems of the future.
Let's talk maintenance just a wee bit. And sometimes I want to get your opinion. The approach that is taken, especially when it comes to maintenance of our infrastructure and so forth on island. Should that approach be strategically in a way that in a strategically done, or more than just reactively? Sometimes things are done and it should be done in a strategic way, or not only just being reactive towards it.
I watch all the road gangs, and the road gangs who do all the bushing and these kind of things. These things should not be isolated every couple months. We're supposed to be able to segment off to communities and have what I would call public-private partnerships, where we tell people in the community that we're looking to have maintenance crew for this geographic area, and we're looking to have the tender process or bid process to do that. We can create some, because we do it for different bodies that do Southern Waste Management, WAMAS, all the others. There's bodies that do it, but we need to also spread it on a community level. The people who we need all the side of the roads, cut back trees that are coming over. These things should not just be done every 2-3 months when it gets really bad. It should be consistently done. Drains supposed to be cleaned consistently. It may not be logistically easy to spread it out, but as a pilot program, I think there should be something where each constituency has its own field workers or a maintenance crew of 50 to 80 individuals who every day they come in and they get assignments of where to go and where areas need to clean. There are areas where a lot of elderly on a
so the maintenance level is always up to par.
Because we have people elderly in our community who never get their yard cut in months, and they're looking for somebody to just help. And I meet a lot of them, and I think that this is where we give our own people some dignity. And those same road maintenance shouldn't just stop at the road. If you know elderly people who need a little cleanup around their yard, should help them out. And these are the things that build and foster communities.
When we talk about development, what does smart development means to you, sir?
Smart development is not just developing for, say, putting up solar panels and making sure something is modernly designed. I look at a situation right now in the South, right at the exit of Lansapine, where you see Housing Authority is there right now. That land is up for sale to private bidders. Back in the NDC administration, that land was sold to NIS, and now that land is being sold to the open market. Now, Housing Authority has to look for a new place to rent and house their equipment. When you look at the government budget, how much of our statutory bodies are paying rent privately? How much of our tax money is spent in rent? When I look at a situation like that, when I talk about smart development, I see that area opposite the ramps, and I see a potential for 4 stories parking garage that helps not just alleviate the parking situation in areas like Montu and the Valley and so forth, but I also see that area that can house things like IMA, CBI. We want to become the regulatory person for CBI. That can be housed there. Why not create a financial hub district with a flow just dedicated to local entrepreneurs who are selling either a restaurant or whatever, a hairdresser, barber, whatever. You create a flow for commercial activity. You create a flow for the offices that house government situations like in Inland Revenue, Tax Authority. Because when you think about our future, the South is our future in terms of development. The town is as fully developed as possible. The South has that room to grow. So why not, when you see government offices have so much problems with parking right now? We're importing an average of about 400 to 600 vehicles a month. So the parking situation is not going to go anywhere. Smart development is seeing our problems in the future and now and trying to stem it off and develop so that we can be sustainably strong, both fiscally and for our people. That area should be not sold at all. It should be kept in government hands. Government should create something with CBI and have a development where they have a proper financial district, 500 cars parking garage, allow it so that some of the local populace who have problems with parking their vehicles on the side of the road have a safe place to park their vehicle, and put some security. The top floor of that parking garage can have solar panels, and that top floor could be just for EVs charging, because we have a growing EV population. This is a way of smart development, seeing what we have now and how we can help address the problems of the future.
All right.
And that is what I'm talking about.
All right, understandable. We due for a break. Let's take a break, come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the break. Don't touch it now.
Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GBN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GBN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gbn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
Hey everyone, here is an invitation to join me this and every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on GBN Television 711 K105 FM, our Facebook page and YouTube channel for Kaiso Talk. Meet the Kaisonians, hear their stories, feel the vibes. Kaiso Talk, Wednesdays 8:30 p.m. Compliments the Grenville Credit Union.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to our viewers once again. Welcome back, of course, Mr. Chris Allie Jr. with us this morning, and he's now the candidate for the South of South St. George. I want to switch the conversation just a wee bit, and folks may say that we are now going through what is deemed as are we navigating per se through what we call turbulent waters? Mm-hmm. When I say that, I reference the the fishing industry and so forth. Now, the fishing industry has been faced with pressure in 2026 thus far, and I just want to grab your perspective of what's the key issues affecting the sector right now.
Brother, the fishing issue is really tough because I in my community, Woburn, Caliste, Grand Anse Beach are all fishing communities, and they make livelihoods from that. And when you see right now that what's going on, the lack of information, a lack of clarity of the way forward, what's going on with fishermen, and the fact that they have consistent bills, they have families to feed, and they have no honest way forward to deal with their problems. They just heard that we're trying to get some markets and that. But I did some research. I could not just sit idly by. I wanted to know more and understand what really is going on, and I didn't want to just approach a topic with the right information. So I called stakeholders, I called people who are exporters, Southern Fishermen Association, different fishers. I spoke to private boat owners. I spoke to small young guys who just got their boats. I spoke to a few people across the spectrum. And what I see is something that's really disheartening and really, really worrying for my friends in the fishing community. One, when you look at what we're facing, which is a ban from NOAA, given that they wanted us to make sure that we put in legislation things to not kill whales, dolphins, certain things, I agree. We should have done that a long time ago. Even when this administration came in, post 3 years later, they put the legislation in 3 months. So we could have done a lot faster. I'm not avoiding that. That is an issue both governments, both administrations could have done better on. But when you look at what we have now, what are you doing now to make the situation better? A little research would show you that NOAA banned crab meat from Indonesia and Asia and Asian countries, similar to what they did to us with our export ban. And though that economy came together and they approached a law firm in the United States, who's a lobbying firm, sued NOAA. And NOAA played no contest to the suit, and the ban was dropped, right? Now, a similar reach out was happened with that same law firm with the people who were affected by the fishing ban, the people who export fish. Now, they had an incredible plan. They thought that the ban could be lifted if they did the same strategy as what they did with the crab meat. And they said because of the geopolitical situation, they didn't want to put government of Grenada as a plaintiff in the case. They wouldn't do that. They would put the private fishing companies and come together as a block unit and be the plaintiff for the case. Mm-hmm. All they asked was the government foot the bill for $150,000 US for the retainer for 6 months. The government kind of left them hanging on that. $150,000 US. That could have been the retainer for a law firm that would have done lobbying on our behalf for our fishing companies, private sector organizations, would have helped alleviate the plight of the fishing community. That was proactive, because right now I'm not seeing proactive leadership right now. I'm not seeing a bold move in taking to making sure this is alleviated. And that is what is worrying fishermen. Because fishermen will go out on a boat for 2 weeks, brother, and come back with a check for $70,000 to $80,000, And in 4 or 5 days, they're gone. And they're back on the boat going and hustle again. These men provide a significant contribution to our economy. They spend, they invest, they have families here, they have tabs, they pay off, they take goods to go out on the boat when they're provisioning. All these things help cycle our economy. The Subies, the St. Andrews, the St. John's, the South, the North are all affected because of all sea-facing communities. We all are affected nationally. And right now it is time for bold, proactive thinking, where we can have to alleviate this situation in a much faster time scale. We can't sit down and say we're exploring markets and we're seeing what we can do. But meanwhile, fishermen are not left with income support. They're not left with any sort of like trajectory of how to push that fish into new markets in the region. Even, just be thinking out loud. Where's Fish Friday right now? I don't see it anymore.
I don't think it's happening as it used to.
I see in St. Andrews they do a little kind of like fish situation on a Saturdays right now, like a kind of festival. I want to do one in the South so badly. I want to do one in Woburn and bring a different vibe to fish expo, like a market. I would like to see live fish in aquariums, fish on ice, and then after customers and patrons could come and like choose the fish and have chefs who are other restaurant owners in the community do that fish up in a ceviche, could do it up in a nice escoviche, could do whatever you want to do, the rice, you want to do the pasta, and serve it right there in the community. That helps boost local demand. That boosts SU students coming in and spending their money, and that helps dampen the effect on the fisherman in the community. These are the kind of things we need to start proactively talking about to bolden and broaden the economic strength of our island. Because resiliency is not just depending on export opportunities. Resiliency is being able to survive internally as well when times are tough. So right now is our time to focus internally and build our structures and economy for a resilient future.
Now, in your view, how can Grenada strengthen the fishing industry? When I say that in a way that there's a balance in terms of sustainability and profitability.
Well, I do build fish tournament, and I do it with my friends as a way to kind of calm down and have a little. But I have been doing it for 5-6 years. So this year was the first year I caught, brother. 4 years out on our ocean, and the first year I caught fish. And proudest moment, as a type of, I'll keep going until I get through. But when I realized, when I talk to fishermen and people who've been doing this for years, who've been coming to tournaments, they'll tell you right now in the region, there's a serious drop in fish. There's a serious, COVID. Tuna is running like crazy. Why is that? Because the feed of fish tuna feeds on was the ones we were not catching. So therefore they were feeding a lot more, and there's a whole ecosystem. The kingfish hunts this fish, that fish hunts that fish, and it goes on and on. We need to be smarter and more proactive in how we create a sustainable environment for our fishing sector. We need to make sure it's a lifeblood, but we can't just take off all the pelagic wild fish in the ocean either. We need to create sustainable internal models as well. I know it's very rare if someone say, I create a aquaculture farm, but we need to start exploring these things, because we can't just continually pillage our oceans and for profit, and then realize that when we struggle for fish, how detrimental that is for society.
But what would you think will be the long-term stability for the industry?
We need
what would that look like?
We need a lot of education with the fishermen to show them and fishermen are very much open to that, because they want to know how to make sure they have their money consistently secured for a long time. So they don't want all the fish to be finished. So education of how to make sure you put back certain types of sizes back into the ocean, making sure that you have every fisherman should also have a size ruler for a certain fish, so when they put on board, it never goes under a certain over a certain size. We need to make sure that we create a level of sustainability in the environment. We need to make sure that not just fish finders are out there, but we create the proper marine protected areas where there's no fishing at all. Because I am on a side of the island where there's a lot of marine protected areas, but there's not enough, checking on the yachties who moor there, and the bilging out of waste into the ocean. There's a serious problem between the Hog Island and Woburn area, where a lot of people say a lot of the yachts bilge out their waste into the ocean, and it's creating a serious environmental issue for there. That is all sustainability too. How do we manage commercialism of our country, but also the sustainability that makes sure it's still pure Grenada that is still there? And that's what I'm talking about.
We do for a break. Let's take. When we come back, I want to talk to you a wee bit about economic development, especially in the South and nationally also. When we come back, stay with us. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the short break. Don't touch your dial. Stay with us.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11, K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GBN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GBN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gbn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
Hey everyone, here is an invitation to join me this and every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on GBN Television 711 K105 FM, our Facebook page and YouTube channel for Kaiso Talk. Meet the Kaisonians, hear their stories, feel the vibes. Kaiso Talk, Wednesdays 8:30 p.m. Compliments the Grenville Credit Union.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. It's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. We have Senator Allie. This is our final segment, and I want to kind of reissue that so we can accommodate some calls, because I see my lines are going already. As I mentioned, I want to talk about economic development, especially within the South and you know, nationally in general. Growth and how are people to benefit from this economic development. A question to start this out. When you speak about economic development, what does that mean in that practical term for the average Grenadian? Because those are the folks that it should be benefiting when you talk about economic development.
Well, economic development is simply trying to broaden the economy to make sure it can facilitate a lot more growth for the future. Every economy, over time and technology and everything, certain things die off and no longer become relevant, and certain things grow into new economies. Our thing is that we have a country that's basically, due to our region, we have been conservative in terms of our growth. We have not taken any bold things in terms of like broadening our financial system, right? Done from commercial banks. We should have incentivizing companies like private equity and venture capital to come in to make sure there's a diverse ecosystem for businesses to have the investment situation to grow. So it shouldn't just be on commercial banks and GDP. It should have other ways to attain finance and grow in Grenada. Then economic development is also changing up legislation in things like in areas that also without putting brick and mortar, kind of encourage investment to come into the country. Take, for example, in medical tourism, people talk about Polaris a lot and like increasing medical tourism. But if you like open laws in terms of stem cell treatment, IVF, and these kind of things, there are a lot of countries now who are coming to like the Caribbean to do IVF treatment because it's more relaxing on the women and the families, that it is easier for them to get pregnant that way. So that is a huge type of economy that it can open. And there's Grenadians who, luckily through SGU and a lot of scholarships, we have Grenadians who are in a lot of cutting-edge fields in medicine. We can have a program that with the government saying that we're reaching out to all our scholarship recipients and checking and see where they are in terms of their career development, and how can we pull back some Grenadians to invest. Tell them, hey, we can make this a tax-comfortable regime for you. You help get the investment from the United States or wherever you're based, and help pull that kind of expertise back into our country to help boost our product offering. If we should not just open things like in tourism, that not just the hotel based on just rooms and like that, well, we know the regular hotel model. There's new things in wellness tourism that people are looking at right now. People are not really want to come to the Caribbean and get drunk and just get tan anymore. They're coming to like rejuvenate their mind and body and experience. They want high quality food. They want fresh. They want they want to be immersed in nature and be able to do yoga and clear their mental health before they go back into their working world. And that kind of diversity in our tourism model needs to happen to also boost our economy. So when you look at economic development, we really in Grenada, we have a lot of tools at our disposal. The question is the creative and intellectual thinking to open those doors for the Grenadians and articulate that vision to our Grenadian people.
So you're basically saying you want to move out of that traditional sectors.
I think traditional sectors are a good foundation. Yeah. What we need to do is just like anything, sometimes refurbish and upgrade the system a bit and include more dynamicism in the economy. And there's space for it. We just need to create the support. I think the major role for any government is basically the support mechanism for people to take their own initiatives, like, for private sector, for individuals, for entities in and out, to take advantage of opportunities. And that is what we're supposed to do, support our economy for future growth.
As a young politician yourself, what do you see, of course, or what do you believe holds the most promise for future growth in Grenada?
I think service sector, our construction could have a lot still to grow. Because we could, we were just speaking earlier, we have a lot of tradespeople who could become professionals in their field and have a thing. And I just want to say that in terms of planning and development and climate resilience as well, a point I missed. When we're building homes now and creating for the future, we need to build homes that are, when a hurricane comes, we're not worried that will go. We need to create climate resilient homes. Things like when it can withstand winds. In this day and age, a boathouse would not survive a Category 2 storm, much less a Category 4. So what are we doing when we put in back social housing? Are we not creating the kind of things that can have long-term effect for our people? Because if these things are helping the working class Grenadian, you want to make sure that you're building something that would last for them for 20 years. Like, and they have a foundation to grow upon. So when we look at this, and that comes with Planning Development Authority, because I also think that you should have a whole new certification for homes that are built climate resilient.
Okay.
If you come and I have a climate resilient home, I want a special certification from Planning Development Authority, and I want to bring that to my insurance, my house insurance company, and tell them I have a climate resilient home. I want to get a third of the cost reduced on my insurance because I can withstand it, not other than a home that has a zinc roof. I can withstand a hurricane and not worry, so my risk is lower. So we need to start to create these kind of areas of development for our people to start showing that, where the country is headed and how do we get there.
Let me ask you this, and it's a question that may tickle your fancy just a wee bit. People are saying, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time, and the South seat is safe in the hands of the Honourable Andy Williams. Yeah. What's your take on that?
First of all, I'll never bash the Honourable Andy Williams. I think, first of all, to say to everybody that Andy Williams is just like a Grenadian like me, a young Grenadian man who stayed in his country, fought and strived and tried to make sure and make a business and make a future for himself. I just think we differ in terms of our politics and our ideas to move the constituency forward. I want people to look at me as a candidate who is not just coming to them to just bamboozle them with great ideas. I want you to look at my ideas and look at it as something that we can work from, that we can build a vision of that prosperity for all. Not just for one segment of people, for all, for everybody to feel a part of this growth of our country. And I'm ready to debate Honorable Andy Williams any day, any time, about our vision for the South, both his vision and my vision. I would love to bring the political debate back to where it needs to be, in the effect of the people, how our ideas can be brought to bring the most dramatic and gain for our people. And I'm always ready for that. I'm ready for this battle every day. I'm standing 10 toes down for my people in the South and for all my generation. I'm ready to tackle the hard problems and lean into the things that are uncomfortable. And that's what we need from our leaders. And I'm not afraid of any battle. I tell people that. I said, if you see me fighting a bear, pray for the bear.
All right. Tell me this also. This will be my final question to you before we entertain some calls. What kind of leadership do you believe people are looking for at this moment in our national life?
I think we need a level of pragmatism and boldness from our leaders. We need to be able to tell our people as it is, even the uncomfortable truth. But we also need to be able to have the intellectual level to be able to push forward and be able to build a country that is for all Grenadians. So we need a level of boldness and a level of capacity from our leaders. And that is where I know the New National Party stands. We stand ready at the door, ready to government in waiting to take the mantle and help push the country forward. That's what we've been doing for the last 40 years, and we still will be doing for the next 40.
We're due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we take those calls. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point Classic Radio. We'll be right back.
The Grenville Corporate.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Hey everyone, here is an invitation to join me this and every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on GBN Television 711 K105 FM, our Facebook page and YouTube channel for Kaiso Talk. Meet the Kaisonians, hear their stories, feel the vibes. Kaiso Talk, Wednesdays 8:30 p.m. Compliments the Grenville Credit Union.
Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GBN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GBN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gbn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
Welcome back once again to our listeners and viewers. Welcome back to those of you via our social media platforms. Welcome back. Also to our listeners and viewers, in this segment, as promised, we're going to open up the lines for you. If you do have a question that you would like to ask, of course, the caretaker, not only caretaker, but no candidate. I got to get the caretaker part out of my mind. The candidate now for the South, Christopher Allie Jr. in this segment. And I beg of you to be brief so we can accommodate as many callers as possible. Let's take our first caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning, and I appreciate your patience.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Again, the underpinning of a nation, the underpinning of a party, the foundation, the policies, what they stood for, what's the mantra, what's the philosophy. And all I'm hearing from this gentleman is basically regurgitating what the NDC stated that they will do, and they're doing. And we don't expect miracles to happen overnight. No. GT actually preempt one of the questions I wanted to ask. Because as soon as he mentioned and he said, no, it's forefathers. When I say use the terminology forefathers, meaning that the previous leaders of the party are those who, well, he's still the leader anyhow. That's in the NNP party. They never had the vision and insight. And he basically answered a lot of the questions and a lot of the things I've been saying. He made it more clear. It therefore means that nobody else had a say, or they did not have vision in terms of the trajectory of where Grenada should go. It means that things were dictated to, that they never had a say. They never had a futuristic plan for Grenada to put things in place like what Deacon Mitchell and his administration are doing right now. And the gentleman basically answered the question, because when you ask him, some people will say that the government, NNP been in government for so long, and they never instituted or implemented all these innovations that we see now. For example, 70
Caller, remember, I asked to be brief, please. I asked of you to be brief, please.
But what I'm basically saying, GT, he answered the question, and you could tell that they never had a futuristic plan for Grenada. The only aim was to basically the spirit of deception and have people in a state where they only want to win election and have people poor and vulnerable. They never had Grenada attack.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. You want to respond to anything the caller said?
To the caller, all I can say is that I'm not looking in the review. I'm looking forward. And the new national party is a refreshed and revitalized organization. I cannot hold water for the past.
Okay.
I have to build for the future.
We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. You're live. Let's hear from you, and I beg of you to be brief, please.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I note your guests look back in the review mirror, but our bodies indicate when we eat, essentially, we are nourished and we grow and we are who we are today. So we sometimes have to look back in the review mirror. I think one of the things that I note, I wonder if the gentleman sees a difference between a 10-year-old, a 27-year-old and a 21-year-old in terms of their knowledge and their abilities. Somehow in Grenada, we talk a lot and we accept incompetence at many levels. So for example, we had people who were 40 and 60-year-olds who seem not to have known about joint accounts, joint bank accounts. So we allow a gentleman, some Dawoodi guy, who come and tell us, you know what, we got to put in a shrimp farm. And he was the only signature. Apparently, he could have walked away with millions of dollars, and there is no result of any investigation. We don't even know who's involved. But even worse, you have people who know about fishing for the last 60 years, the last 100 years taking place in Grenada. Have we made any effort to teach anyone about our fishing industry and our resources in the marine environment for those last 27 or 21 or 10 years? No. But all of a sudden we have awakened. It's good that people are awakened. But if we should judge them, we should realize they don't want it. They don't cut it to move us forward because they were there, they saw it, and they did absolutely nothing, put it that way. Teaching our fishermen, we just realized that they need to teach our fishermen. But you know what is even worse? A previous administration under Brizan ensured that you had a good project for fishermen and a fishermen cooperative in Grand Mall. What did the NNP do? They took the project and released it out and sold it to some other person, I think from Barbados. Wholesale, not even giving the fishermen 2 shares in that company. But we're talking about the like fishermen. Stop trying to mislead and misdirect people and do the correct thing. Our Grenadians have knowledge and ability, and we must get them involved. Stop looking for service industry, and we depend on people from outside. We have our own things that we can develop. We have water that we're surrounded by, and there is resources there. We need to put the energy, the time, the money, and the education in it so that we can benefit. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. You want to respond to the caller, or we move to another one?
That caller was stating something there where we sold off the fisheries in Grand Mall and to some gentleman. That gentleman is a businessman, James, who not just took a failing fishery that had many deaths, but also made sure that government still is a owner, a shareholder in that fishery in Grand Mall. And that fishery has not just become a beacon among the fishing community. People from Barbados, St. Vincent come to our island to get bait and fish and ice in our institute in Grand Mall. That's because of a public-private partnership that NMP has brought, and we have grown that fishing export sector with James' help. So I would not say I'm least bit ashamed about that. I am proud of the work that NMP has tried. I'm not saying everyone is perfect, and there are probably some mistakes we could have done better as a party. But the incremental growth in our economy that we have done is something to be extremely proud of, and I'm proud of all the work that they have done.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Well, thank you, Mr. Telesford. Greetings and greetings to you guests. I'd begin by just making a correction. Read the glossary used and certain terms used. Pardon, what was the name of Allie? Mr. Allie, you are not a candidate to anything, sir. The day that your nomination is accepted, you shall become a candidate. In the interim, you're a pre-candidate. Let's get that straight. We have to be meticulous about the words we use because they only belong to their context. Mr. Allie, one time when you came on the radio and so on, I was pleased to hear you, young blood, and so, but today you have just open the door to, quote-unquote, deja vu. The same thing. You seemingly seem to believe that you vying for a position of only a constituency representative or a minister. You are not seeing the principal job that you're vying for, which is that of a legislator, a lawmaker, a member of parliament. You haven't mentioned a word about your legislative agenda for the country and not for the south of the island only. But here's my question, sir. Months ago, I asked you, I do reference to a particular document, read the foundational architecture of this here country. I read a portion of it from you from my memory on my gray board before me. You promised to look at it and come back and tell us about it. I'll continue to implore you to report what you found out about the architecture, constitutional architecture of the Grenada. Can you tell me the the number and year of the Constitution Act of Grenada? Remember, you vying as a position of a legislature. Can you tell me the number and year of the Independence Act of Grenada? Can you share with me and the country, as a matter of fact, the documents which give face, validity, legal authority, and legitimacy to the so-called Constitution Order of Grenada? This, because I do not believe on any circumstances that we can build a country. The evidence is there over 52 years we've been trying to, we ain't going nowhere. Do you consider working the same as we've been over the years in a bid to change anything in Grenada? What are the considerations you having to promote to the people of this country? What you propose to do for changing things in Grenada, setting a new stage for the direction of the country? I trust that my question is understood. Do have a nice day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution. Response to the caller?
Citizen Rolo, I appreciate you every time you call. But yes, I have mentioned a few things in the earlier part of the interview about different things we should do on legislation, both on a national level and on a constituency that would benefit the constituency. But when people think about constituency, it shouldn't just be thinking isolated. these things have broad-reaching effects all throughout the country. It just may happen to affect my constituency directly, but I think broadly and nationally for all things. On the constitutional question, I still have to do some research, Citizen Rollo, and I promise to get back to you with that well-articulated research of what I've done. So I hope to one day answer that question for you.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. You're live. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Allie.
Good morning.
Mr. Allie, I know that you will be going up against Andy in the Great South. And on the platform, at the NNP meeting and platform, Andy, the biggest crook, the biggest con man, he ready GDB Bank. Would you campaign based on that, saying that you just be on the platform and you heard that a lot from the chairman of your party? My next question to you, you mentioned about work should be sustained in Grenada, like cutting down the bushes and fixing the roads and whatever. Mr. Ali, do you know that your party was the one who closed down the public works? A perfect example, the public works in Sotez, right now in a dilapidated state, trees growing inside of it. You know what I mean? And that was a way where people used to come and get work. And another thing, last question for you. Mr. Diali, most Grenadians are not fortunate like you who born with a gold spoon in your mouth. All right? You don't have basically like bills for school to pay. Do you think that this administration offering each and every household to see that a child will get at a university level, do you think is a good gesture? And if your government in power, what would it change?
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your contribution. We'll respond to the caller, and we will take one more caller after this and take a round four today.
To answer the first part of the question, I have never been in any public forum to ever disparage or bring down any other Grenadian. I am not that type of person. I'm a person who uplifts my fellow Grenadians. I think instead of fighting each other, we should be fighting the problems. So I hope that answers your question. The second part, what was that one you said?
I think in relation to education in terms of the government offering.
Well, I represent a party who has done extremely well in terms of education. We have done the most scholarships. Nearly every time there was a foreign trip, there used to be an announcement of more scholarships still for Grenadians. So I don't think I want any less for my Grenadian people. I actually think there should be more areas of where we can create scholarships for young people. And actually, to be honest, education is taking a dramatic and dynamic change now with AI. We have to start considering what education is for the new generation, because it is a completely different realm that what kids will be going into. A lot of jobs that I had to get a degree for, don't need it right now because people are just coming straight from high school and starting companies. Okay. So, and one thing about the gold spoon situation, I would say, my brother, I cannot say thank you enough to my parents for the life they have given me, and I thank them every day for it. But it's on me also as a Grenadian and a man to stand up and build my future and build my country. I'm very proud of what my parents have done for me, and I want to do that same for a lot of many Grenadians who don't have that same opportunity. I know very much I'm fortunate, and I want more Grenadians to be as fortunate.
All right, we do have another caller, and this will be my final caller for the program for today. Caller, you're live. Good morning and welcome. And be brief, please.
Hi, 3 points. First point is this. Grenada is not a country. It's an island. It's a very small island, and economic development in any island like ours depends on the population, the numbers of people in our country. Secondly, I would like to ask the speaker, what is his idea of politics in society? What is his political philosophy for Grenada? How does he apply his political philosophy in the change he's asking for in Grenada? How do we educate our young people to understand what sort of island do we have? What sort of political administration do we have? How does it work in society? What is the party's idea of politics in society, especially when it comes to voting and electoral decision? How do they put the agenda together? What is the political agenda for change?
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Respond to the caller.
Well, firstly, I am Christian. My politics is dictated by my values. So my politics is based on a Christian conservative value. I believe in capitalism, and I believe in a level of libertarianism where we allow people to find their own peace and happiness to their own individualism. So I want to help grow the economy. I want to create more free enterprise of young people. I want to create less barriers of entry. I want to create more growth in not just business sector, but in also freedom of people to take advantage of their own opportunities. And I believe in a society that is firmly based in some good Christian values of being able to, neighborly love, brotherly love, making sure you help each other up and make sure to not be so judgmental, and being able to have a level of backbone and being able to stand for the values that built your society. So this is what the underpinnings of my political philosophy, as you would like to think. I think I'm constantly learning and growing, so I don't think my politics will ever stay stagnant. I think I would continually learn and grow and help adjust as time comes. So any points that may be strong now, I may, with more education and more learning, I may come around to more other viewpoints. But that's where I am. Okay.
And that's where we get to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Anything you want to leave with our listeners and viewers? Any message you want to leave with our listeners and viewers before we wrap up?
To all the viewers who listen out there who probably are from my party and not from my party, and a lot of many Grenadians who don't identify with party politics but are patriots nonetheless and sit on the sidelines and watch what happens. To everyone listening, I believe that we should bring a lot more love, a lot more desire and ideas back to our politics to help bring our people forward. I would like to be judged not just for what has happened in the past, but I would like to be judged on the merit of what I'm speaking on for the future. I want us as a Grenadian people to lean on each other, have more community spirit, and not just be afraid to speak a political opinion if it's not agreeing to yours. I am very much love to listen to the people who don't have the same political opinions like me, because I believe it helps inform me to help better serve everyone. I don't believe it's a time for us to not speak up and not talk and put our heads in the sand. It's time for all Grenadians, both young, old, and in the middle, to all come together and help drive the conversation in the way that we want to see our politics and want to see our country do better. So that's all I want to bring into our politics. I just want to bring more, some more love and ideas into the game. And I want to see better for my country. I want to see better for my people. And I just want to be proud of what I leave back when my time is over on this earth. That's all.
So, the Allie Jr., I want to thank you once again for being on the program. It's always a pleasure having you on the program, sir. It's always a pleasure having you on the program. And best wishes goes out to you for the rest of the day.
Brother.
Hey, folks, that's where we're going to wrap today's edition up to the point. Thank all who contributed towards today's edition. Thank you so much. Have a good one, folks. Join me again tomorrow.